Hello, and welcome to the Carolinas Luxury Real Estate Podcast, Christie's Luxury Expert Series, where we talk with Christie's agents all over the country who are experts in their luxury market. I'm your host, Sam Sparks, the broadcast audio coordinator at Ivester Jackson, Christie's International. Joining me to discuss Christie's luxury brand in his market is Dellis, who is the Chief Operating Officer at Walt Danley, Christie's International Real Estate in Phoenix, Arizona. Thanks for joining me today, Dub.
You bet. Pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. We're glad you could make it. So can you tell us a little bit about your real estate background and what brought you to Christie's International?
Yeah, my whole background has been on operations and marketing. And so I was brought on Walt Danley's team when we were at Coldwell Banker almost 20 years ago. And I served the role on the marketing end of things. And then after I'd been there a couple of months, he asked me to take a bigger role in the operations. So about 10, almost 11 years ago, we left Coldwell Banker. We opened our own brokerage and affiliated ourselves with Christie's. And so been here ever since.
Wow. And of course, Coldwell's a very, renowned name all over. So to start your own from there, pretty impressive.
Yeah, and the great thing is the way that we branded Walt when we were at Coldwell Banker, a lot of our agents didn't even realize that we weren't our own firm. So it wasn't from our client's perspective, it wasn't a big leap, but it was important for us to align ourselves with an international brand. And so Christie's is as good as it gets. So we went through the vetting process that felt like it took forever, but we were finally approved, and we've been the exclusive affiliate of Christie's International Real Estate here in Arizona for coming up on 11 years.
Wow, that's great. All right, so what's happening with luxury real estate in your area?
Well, I'm sure you've heard this before for talking to people in other markets, that all segments of the Phoenix metro market are bordering on insane, and the luxury market falls into that category as well. And it really boils down to economics 101, supply and demand. Right now, our demand from incoming buyers is tracking, depending on the submarket you're talking about, anywhere from 16 to 21 to 22% higher than we would expect it to be based on 5-year averages. So demand is definitely higher than normal, but the real driving factor is the lack of supply. Right now, we have 81% fewer luxury listings in our marketplace than we did 5 years ago. And I've heard that from people around the country. It's just a constricted supply, and maybe an increase in demand like we're seeing here in the Phoenix Scottsdale market. And those two things working together make it a competitive market, to say the least. And then you couple that with the fact that Phoenix is the fastest growing large city in America. So you have more people competing for fewer listings. So it's a challenging market to get deals put together, to find the right house for their buyers.
Wow. And yeah, I didn't realize Phoenix was the fastest growing right now.
Yeah. Yep.
Good place to be.
Absolutely.
Nice. So what are the top drivers of interest in your area?
Well, some of the things that have been around forever, the beautiful weather, the natural beauty, active lifestyle, that's been in place for decades and decades and decades. But over the last probably 12 to 15 years, we've really grown up and matured as a destination. We're a great foodie destination, great restaurants here, great retail. Golf has always been a huge driver. But once the pandemic started, and I can't believe it's been 2 years. Once the pandemic started, we already had low inventory levels going into it. And I think just like everybody else in our industry, we kind of held our breath during that April, May of 2020. And the market stats that I track on a monthly basis, I started tracking on a weekly basis. And the reason I was doing that was in anticipation of maybe some kind of implosion of the real estate market based on the pandemic. And I wanted to be prepared to be ahead of the curve to tell our clients, hey, you need to reduce your price if you want to sell.
Yeah.
Once June rolled around, a totally different story started to emerge. And we started seeing more and more people coming from, even though Phoenix is a very big city population wise, it's also a massive city from a square footage, square mile standpoint. So there's still a lot of elbow room. It's not a very densely packed community. So that was very appealing to people who were relocating here from metro areas in the Bay Area and LA and Chicago. So the pandemic really, with the outdoor living and the wide open spaces and the modern infrastructure, Phoenix is still a very young city. So the infrastructure, it's a very clean, modern city with great infrastructure, great roads, easy to get around. So all of those things make Phoenix a very attractive place to be.
Nice. When you touched on something about it being, very large, as they say, you can never add, land around a lake. But when Phoenix, with Phoenix, you can keep expanding because there's just so much around it that's not developed.
Yeah, and there's so much undeveloped land within the boundaries of the city of Phoenix and the city of Scottsdale and all the municipalities that make up the Phoenix Metroplex. So there's still, even though there's 5.5 million people in this area, it feels like less than half the buildable land currently is being utilized. So the biggest limiting factor we're going to have, of course, is water. So until we figure out a way to economically desalinate water and be able to pump some of the Pacific Ocean into Lake Mead, that's going to be the big limiting factor.
Yeah. That's funny. Being over here on the East Coast and the South, that's just not something we've ever had to think about. Yeah,
and it is. And the water has always been the currency of the Southwest. And John Wesley Powell said it 150 years ago that water is going to be the limiting factor of the growth in the West. He was right 150 years ago, and it's still right today.
Wow, that's interesting. Okay, so we see that your firm is very active on social media. Does this impact the firm's ability to get exposure for their clients and attract new ones?
Well, yeah, it's interesting. 5 years ago, 6 years ago, we had probably 60% of our agents who were active on social media, and we kept on pushing everybody. Hey, you gotta get into this, and people would say stuff like, well, I don't need to show people pictures of the food that I'm eating, but the analogy I use is in the late 90s, people thought that maybe the internet was a passing fad. So social media is here to stay. It's an incredibly important marketing tool for the agents to keep their name and their occupation in front of the people who already know and like them. And then from a branding perspective for the brokerage, it's growing in importance, and we're spending more and more time and more resources specifically for social media. We brought a videographer in-house specifically to create content. We're working on a podcast just like you are, which creates fantastic content for social media and all the social media channels.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's apparent that to your point, it's here to stay. It's not going
no
at all. Okay. How do you network with other Christie's affiliates around the world?
Couple of different ways. We do attend the different meetings. They have agents meetings that are specifically for agents, meetings that are geared towards the top producing agents within the brokerage, and then meetings for managers and owners. So going to those conferences and seeing people face to face. It's great to see you on a Zoom call, but the relationships are extended much more when you're actually able to see people, break bread with them, have a cocktail with them, and meet them face to face. So those are all important. And then we do these kind of things that we're doing this podcast with you right now. We've done some other projects with Ivester Jackson, who's always been a great partner, as well as other people within the Christie's network. It's one of the exciting things that we have going on right now is new ownership of Christie's International Real Estate that is expanding the network. Chicago is a big feeder market for us, but the previous affiliate in Chicago had sold to Compass, and so we were without for quite a while. For a couple of years, we were out without a major Christie's affiliate in the Chicago market. Ad Properties bought the licensing rights for Christie's International Real Estate, and they're the largest brokerage in the Chicago area. They have 4,000 agents. And so just literally this morning, I got a referral for a $4 million buyer from our partners at Properties, Christie's International Real Estate out of Chicago. So the increase in size in the network is only going to help everybody within the network. We're really excited about that.
Absolutely. In Chicago, that's an interesting feeder market for you. What's the reasoning there?
Well, any place you can think of that has 2 feet of snow on Valentine's Day, and they turn on the TV and they see somebody playing golf in shorts in 70-degree weather in Scottsdale, that's a good feeder market for us. And so there's always been a lot of traffic back and forth between Phoenix and Chicago. Recent years, California has supplanted Chicago as their number one feeder market. So it's really the LA area, San Francisco, Chicago, Seattle. And we just, one of your agents with Ivester Jackson was kind enough to refer a really lovely couple who live in the Charlotte area, retiring, moving out to Scottsdale. So we just helped them close on a property here. And it was a referral from Ivester Jackson.
Nice.
Yeah. Just Tracy Davis, got to give her a plug. So thank you, Tracy, for the referral.
Nice. Well, thank you, Tracy. We appreciate you. So our last one, Christie's International uses the phrase luxury defined. What does luxury mean to you in your firm?
That is such a great question. I think the pandemic made all of us look long and hard at what we value, and I guess luxury to me means choices. I can choose to go on vacation. I can choose to skip out and work early to go see my granddaughter's soccer game. If you would asked me this question 2 years ago, I might have given you a list of brand names or things. But now it's really about time. It's about family. And for me personally, it's about spending time with my family and my friends. So the luxury to be able to have a lazy Saturday afternoon that's luxury for me, especially in this industry and in this market.
Yeah, absolutely. Good answer. Dub, actually, I forgot a question that's not on my list. So
okay.
Before I ask it, do you guys have experience with the art auction house at all? Do you guys use it? So,
and one of the great things about the art auction house, and have you gone to New York and have you done a tour of the auction house yourself, Sam?
No, I haven't.
So that's something that I've done personally, and some of our agents have done, and we've set up tours for our agents' clients where you get a VIP behind the scenes tour of the Christie's auction house, see some incredible jewels, incredible handbag, unbelievable art. And that's something that any agent with Christie's can make a call to the folks up in New York and set up a private tour. And so that right there is just such a cool experience. We had one of our agents take a group of her friends. They decided this must have been Christmas of 2019. It was before the pandemic, but a bunch of them jumped on a plane, went to New York for a 3-day shopping spree, and they stopped in. I think there was 8 of them, and they got a private guided tour of the art auction house. I forgot what sale they were getting ready to have, but there was some off the charts art that we've all seen in art books our whole lives that they were able to see in person. So that part of being affiliated with Christie's is great. So I'd encourage any Christie's agent, if you have clients or friends, or if you're going to New York, pick up the phone, make a call, and book a private tour. But the great thing about Christie's is it has a 250-year track record of selling the rare and the valuable, and so that dovetails very nicely in with our business, focusing specifically on luxury real estate. So it's just that ecosystem where people of substantial means can get all of their needs met, whether it's real estate, art, handbags. Who knew handbags was an asset class? Now it is. Don't tell my wife that, but it is. There's all different things. Wine is another thing that the auction house handles.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're right. It's a great thing to have. All right, Dub. Now it's time for the lightning round portion of the podcast. You ready to go?
Let's do it.
All right. What was your favorite subject in school?
History.
History?
Yep.
All right. Who in life has inspired you the most?
This is going to sound cheesy, but I think it's probably either A, my wife, or B, maybe A.1, my kids. It's I'm a very family-centric guy. So just inspire me to get my rump out of bed and get to work and make a good living so we can all have fun together. But family, my dad was a big influence on me as well.
Yeah, family's always a good inspiration for sure. So what was your first job?
My first job was a busboy at a Mexican food restaurant. I mentioned my dad just a second ago. And when I turned 13, I'll never forget it. He said, "Congratulations, you're 13. You're grounded until you get a job." And he didn't really realize that it was tough sledding to get a job when you were 13 years old in Tempe, Arizona. But I kept on going back to the local Mexican food restaurant, and they finally hired me. And I worked there for 3 years throughout most of high school, bussing tables. So I've been working since I was 13. Sound like a coal miner or something.
Hey, I think it instills good values.
I think that was my dad's thought as well. Either that or I just was annoying and he wanted me out of the house. That could have been.
I mean, probably was done giving you money for stuff, right?
Yeah, buy your own food, kid.
That's right. So do you speak any other languages?
Nothing particularly well. My wife and I went to Spain last summer. We hiked the Camino de Santiago, and I grew up in the Metro Phoenix area, heavy Hispanic influence. I've been around the Spanish language my entire life, and I kind of thought I could speak it, and I'm not particularly good at it. I did one of those online app-based learning courses, and I thought, I got this. I can communicate great. We get off the plane. And because I've been around the Spanish language my entire life, my pronunciation is pretty good. And so I think the people at the airport thought that I could speak better because I could pronounce a couple of words right. And then I was just lost. And we're going to Italy, so I'm trying to learn Italian. And my game plan for that is just to continue to eat while I'm in Italy, because it's rude to speak with food in your mouth. So if I'm constantly eating, I don't have to speak the language. I'll let my wife do that.
Hey, that's a pretty good idea right there. I like that. Okay. So what was your best and worst Halloween costume?
I was a very tall, skinny kid. So my mom made me an Abraham Lincoln. And that goes back to my love of history. She made me an Abraham Lincoln costume. And then when I was in college, I don't know if you remember Robert Bork during he was nominated for Supreme Court Justice, I think under Reagan. I went as Robert Bork, and that was a pretty hideous costume. And also very obscure. Nobody, even at that time, knew who the hell I was trying to be. So I spent a lot of time explaining that one.
I would say that seems like a shot in the dark for people who really get that one. But well, good. Well, once again, Dub, thank you for joining me today, and sharing your experiences with Christie's International and your luxury market.
Absolutely. Happy to do it.
Yeah. And if people want to contact you for any questions, or if they need help with real estate in your area, how would they do that?
Sure. You can email me at Dub, and that's DUB, Dub at waltdanley.com. And our website is waltdanley.com. And our office number here is 480-991-2050. Happy to answer any questions about real estate in Arizona. I've been here my whole life. So even if it's not a market where we serve, I know people all over the state, and I can get people hooked up with the right people to take care of them.
Great. Well, thanks again. And if anyone wants more information about the firm, you can visit us at ivisterjackson.com. Thank you so much for listening. Take care.
Thank you.